Motion. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Fakes, throwing to the end zone. Wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside the one, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.
Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie, and we're here to talk about the first depth chart. Michael Jordan is listed as the starting right guard for this team. No, that was not a mistake. That was what was released on the Bengals' first initial depth chart. So I'm going to give my thoughts on it. Also, Jackson Carman was listed as third on the depth chart. So we'll also talk about that as well in another video more in depth. But I'm here to talk about the Michael Jordan move. It's very interesting because I don't think any of us were thinking that Michael Jordan would be a starter for numerous reasons, right? Obviously, the injury to Joe Burrow last year came from a play where he was kind of catapulted into Joe Burrow's knee. So a lot of people presumed initially that Michael Jordan wouldn't be on the roster because of that, which honestly isn't really fair because he was thrust into a position where he really shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. But due to him listening to Frank Pollock and not being a guy that was really combative with him, that's one of the reasons that he was in there. Ends up leading into the injury. But one thing that I will say is this offseason, Michael Jordan has worked his butt off. He's worked and trained with Willie Anderson to clean up a lot of the technique issues that he had from the previous season. And it appears that he's made some sort of impression on Frank Pollock, as much as for him to be able to even start at the right guard position. So we'll have to see where this goes. I'm not so sure that this is really the final decision. Obviously, it's the very first depth chart, unofficial one released. And maybe this is just going to be a motivating factor because that right guard spot is up for grabs. They have Michael Jordan starting over Xavier Su'a-Filo, and they have him starting over Jackson Carman. Does this mean that he'll be the starter? We'll have to see. The Bengals do take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend. That is going to be the first preseason game. So we'll have to see how they hold up. Now, obviously, they have not had any real legitimate contact with another team. So we'll have to see how Michael Jordan pans out here. I assume that Michael Jordan is going to be a backup. That's just my thought, is that he would be a reserve guard. But they have him starting at the right guard position. So that's very interesting because now he's switching sides. Could this be that Frank Pollock feels like he's better suited to play the right side of the line versus the left side? We'll have to see. So I'm not sure where this idea kind of came from, but he has been one of the guys who's been constantly working with the first team. And Frank Pollock did say that he was going to take the guys that work best with each other. So apparently, as of now, which is still early, this is the first preseason game. Mind you, we have 3. Right now, he is lining up on that depth chart as the starter at that position. Now, the other interesting thing is Deontay Smith has also transitioned from what seems to be the tackle position to the left guard position, and he's in a battle with Quentin Spain for the starting spot over there. It appears that Michael Jordan is no longer being considered a left guard, which means that his position has changed. So again, we have to trust the staff. We have to see what Frank Pollock's vision is. I'm willing to give Frank that chance. I would assume that when it's all said and done, maybe Jackson Carman can get his starting spot, but it looks like they're going to make him earn it. And it looks like right now, apparently, Michael Jordan over Xavier Su'a-Filo and over Jackson Carman is getting something right. So we'll have to wait to see how this plays out. I know people want to really just react to this. Honestly, it's the very first unofficial depth chart, so it's not something that you can put a whole lot of stock into, but it is telling that this coaching staff at least is somewhat high in considering and not fully eliminating the possibility of Michael Jordan being a starter. That's what this tells you, that they're not going to cut him based off of last year and the mistake that was made that caused Joe Burrow to get injured, which honestly, I can respect that because I don't think that it was fully his fault, especially hearing some things from behind the scenes of what I was told about what happened with that situation. I've never felt like Michael Jordan was supposed to be in that situation, and I felt like he was more of a project player that needed to refine his technique and other things before being put in a situation like that. So it appears that we do have a coach that can develop and make guys better and get that potential out of them in Frank Pollack. It looks like they're trying to do that with Michael Jordan. But to get my final thoughts, I think that this is a motivating factor for Jackson Carman as well as Xavier Su'a-Filo. I think that this is more telling about Xavier because Xavier may be a guy that's on the bubble when you just look at the financial aspect of it, because a Jackson Carman and a Michael Jordan is going to cost less than a Jackson Carman and a Xavier Su'a-Filo just from a contract standpoint. So I think that this is actually pretty bad news for him, and we'll have to see. I think that it's going to be a duke out between Michael Jordan and Jackson Carman for the starting right guard position. That's just my thought, but we'll have to see how this goes. Obviously, a lot of Bengals fans are upset about this news, and it's an eyesore on the unofficial depth chart, right? So we'll have to see how that plans out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, guys. Maybe he's a better right guard than he is a left guard. I'm not sure. But we'll have to see. And maybe it's a testament to the work that he put in this offseason with the great Willie Anderson. Obviously, Willie Anderson played right tackle himself. So I would think that he would be able to get him right on the right guard position in terms of, that being, not necessarily blocking from the left. Now he's kind of on the side where he can block from the right. So maybe Willie helped him in that area. We'll have to see. But this is very surprising, and I think a lot of people didn't expect it. I think most people expected Michael Jordan to be a reserve, probably at the left guard position. Some people didn't even expect him to make the roster. I did, just because I feel like the accountability that he took on himself, given the circumstances from what I heard, I can kind of see it. But yeah, I wouldn't press the panic button initially yet. Now, if we get into depth chart week 2 and he's still there and Jackson Carman has not moved up at all, then I think you need to start to consider it. But I think that this is actually bad news for Xavier Su'a-Filo, who is a veteran, who is a guy that probably would get the notoriety where he should probably be at least first on the depth chart just as being a veteran guy. The fact that he's not there must mean that Michael Jordan has outworked him. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as usual, I'll leave you with a who day, all day, every day, especially on Sunday.